Welcome to this week's Travel Talk show. This week we're heading to South America's Ecuador. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us, and I hope you're going to enjoy our little tour of this amazing country. A little bit about who we are. We are the Women's Travel Club, and we do small group tours for women worldwide. Most women will join our tour as solo travelers, but quickly they're going to make some really good travel friends that they will then have forever to travel with. I'm Marianne Southall, and I am in charge of the marketing department. I am joined with Irene Murray, who is from our operations department, and she is typically who, when you call in or go on the chat, you're going to be talking to Irene. So she's kind of our first line of you know, your customer service when you call in or you're needing something. We will take questions, but we're going to keep them to the end of the show, just so that we don't kind of get off sidetracked. I have short attention span and could go off on a tangent forever. So we'll keep all the questions to the end. There is a little Q&A area. So you will have a little menu bar on your screen. It might be at the bottom of the screen. It might be at one side. You can actually move it around if it's somewhere where you don't want it. And in that little menu bar, there's a spot that says Q&A. So if you think of any questions as we're going along, you could just type your question into the Q&A. And at the end, we will read them out and answer them. Another option at the end is there is a place that you can raise your hand. So if you want to raise your hand at the end, then we will open up your microphone and you can actually come on live and talk to us and ask the question. So we can have a chat. That's really good if your question is kind of a little bit more involved than just a really short answer. So that's a wonderful option. And the third option you have is there is a chat. And the chat is really good for just what it says, chatting. And you can say hi to Irene, who's going to be manning the chat, or you could say hi to everybody else. When you go to post in the chat, it gives you the option to send the chat just to the presenter or to presenter and attendees. If you want to say hello to everybody, just make sure you click the presenter and attendees and everybody can see your little chat hello. So a little housekeeping out of the way, let's get started and head to Ecuador. Ecuador is in South America and it's on the Pacific coast. You can see it right here. It's this little gray area right here. It is surrounded by the much bigger Colombia and much bigger Peru. So while Ecuador is fairly small, you're going to see it's a wonderful, beautiful country to visit. Ecuador is intersected by the equator and consists of 4 geographical regions. Running through the center of the country is La Sierra, or the highlands, which include the Amazon. So that's kind of this purple area here. It's going to include the Amazon mountain range and most of the tourist destinations. On the Pacific Ocean is the coastal plain with its tropical climate, and to the east is the Amazon, which consists of the tropical rainforest. Then, of course, located 1,000 kilometers, well, 620 to 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador are the renowned Galapagos Islands. So let's start our tour in the capital, Quito, right kind of here, just a little bit above the middle of the country. At an elevation of 2,800 meters above sea level, Quito is the second highest capital city in the world and the political center of Ecuador. Because of Quito's elevation and its location on the equator, it's said that the city enjoys eternal springtime. The area's earliest inhabitants were the Quito people, who gave the city its name. Quito became part of the Incan Empire, growing into a major city before the arrival of Spanish explorers early in the 16th century. The city was officially established, despite resistance from local inhabitants, by Spanish Lieutenant Sebastian de Benalcázar in 1534. Roman Catholicism became the religion of the region, and more than 20 churches were built during the colonial times. During the 19th century, residents of Quito began to strive for independence, resulting in the Battle of Pichincha. Victory in this battle marked Quito's independence from Spain. Quito's Old Town or Historic Center is a great place to start exploring. Quito's Historic Center is recognized as having the best preserved, least altered historic center in all of Latin America. It's this accolade that led Quito to become the first city in the world to be declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site back in 1978. Quito's Old Town delivers not only cultural significance, it also exudes charm. Despite earthquakes and modernization, the Baroque buildings throughout Quito's Old Town remain largely intact. It can feel like another era wandering through the beautiful architecture that's been here for nearly half a millennium. Plaza Grande is Quito's main central square and is a great place to start. Surrounding Plaza Grande is the Presidential Plaza, also known as Carondelet Palace. This is where Ecuador's president lives and works. Also in the plaza is the Metropolitan Cathedral, a Catholic church completed in 1565 and now the Archdiocese. A few blocks away from Plaza Grande is the Campagna de Jesus, a 17th century Jesuit church known for its gold-colored interior. A couple of blocks away, we come to Plaza San Francisco. This plaza contains the city's oldest church, St. Francis, street vendors, a chapel, a museum with religious art, and cafes. But it's the Andes views here that provide a beautiful natural backdrop during a clear day. Another beautiful church of note is La Merced, white-domed Catholic church from 1736 that contains important artworks and a library. Continuing our tour of beautiful and historic churches brings us to St. Augustine, a historical convent from 1617, where Ecuador's Independence Act was signed and houses many paintings from the 17th century artist Miguel de Santiago. St. Augustine is one of the 7 monumental churches of the 16th and 17th centuries whose main portico was built on stone in a Spanish Baroque architecture style. It was restored in 1880 after some damage from an earthquake. So of all the churches we might want to visit, there's definitely one we don't want to miss. Quito's Basilica is not just another church in South America. Visit this church even if you're not into churches. It's actually the largest neo-Gothic church in all of the Americas. But it's not just the Basilica's grandiosity that makes the trip here one of the best things to do in Quito. It can be such an adventurous experience to climb the towers. The brave who make it to the top are rewarded with stunning views of Quito down below. Gothic churches are often defined by their gargoyles. Here in Quito, native animals have been put up in their place. Ecuadorian iguanas, armadillos, and Indian condors can all be found lining the basilica's exterior. It's such an interesting sight. Of course, you might just want to stroll through the cobblestone streets and beautiful architecture while visiting shops and cafes of Old Town. Telephoto is Quito's cable car that takes passengers high up into the Andes. This 18-minute cable car ride takes you from the middle of the bustling city to the peaceful mountaintop. Quito's Telephoto is one of the highest cable car lifts in the world. It brings passengers up to an altitude of about 4,000 meters, which is about 2.5 miles high. The upper Telephoto station is actually on the eastern slope of Pichincha Volcano. After arriving to the station, there's a lookout platform to soak in the views. You'll also find hiking trails to trek, horseback riding, a few cafes to relax at, a church, a swing that soars off the side of the mountain, and some historic photo opportunities with the resident llamas. As Quito's on the equator, there's a monument to mark the equator. But just realize that modern GPS technology shows that the monument was actually erected about 230 meters south of the actual equator. Instead, you can visit the Intersected Museum, which is closer to the actual equator. Located close to the Ecuador monument, this on-site museum features interactive exhibits on how the Incas determined the middle of the earth. plus interesting science experiments such as balancing an egg on a nail and the effects of the Coriolis force on Earth. So here's a little video from when we were there. And she's going to show how when you're right on top of the equator, so you can see that red line kind of behind her, so right in the middle of the equator, and the water just goes straight down.
Now let's go to Australia. Come with me. One, two.
See how the water spins one direction?
Let's go to the north. The country is north. No, sunset. Okay, so. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so let's head out of Quito, and if we head just a little bit north, we come to a little town called Otavalo. This small town is famous for its indigenous population, which are known for their handicrafts and folk music. Otavalos are easily recognized by their traditional dress: white pants and a dark poncho for men, a dark skirt and a white blouse with colorful embroidery, and a colorful waistband for women. Both sexes wear their hair long, the men usually plaited. Otavalo is renowned for its market. Otavalo Market is a place of history and tradition, where centuries-old artisan practices continue to thrive in villages around the northern town. On any given morning in Otavalo, Plaza de Ponchos is a rainbow of textiles. Blankets, wall hangings, handbags, table runners, alpaca wool sweaters, and scarves beam as brightly as the equatorial sun, lighting up the largest and finest craft market in South America. Now, just a little bit southeast of Quito is a small village in Napo province. Papalakta is the doorway to the Ecuadorian Amazon region. But what this beautiful area is really known for are its thermal spas. The scenic drive from Quito to Papalakta passes through several towns and small villages before ascending to a peak of over 4,000 meters from where mountains and glaciers are visible. Descending from the peak to Papalakta, the ecosystems transform from alpine to tropical jungle. Termas Papalakta is a spa resort located in the Andean Paramo, and they are famous for their hot springs. This is a full-service destination spa that caters to both day visitors and overnight stays. It includes thermal pools with different types of hydromassages, restaurant, thermal club spa for treatments related to health and beauty, medical offices for consultations and advice at no cost. Now that we're all relaxed and rejuvenated, let's journey a little farther into the Amazon jungle. The Amazon rainforest in Ecuador is just over 42,000 square miles. The Amazon basin and the Ecuadorian Amazon in particular is home to truly outstanding biodiversity. The Usani Biosphere Reserve is believed by many to be home to the most diverse set of species on Earth. In the Ecuadorian Amazon, you will find 800 species of fish, including 3 sorts of piranhas, 350 species of reptiles, including anacondas and iguanas, more than 300 species of mammals, including monkeys and jaguars, thousands of species of plants and trees, thousands of species of insects. 1 acre of rainforest may be home to 70,000 species of insects. And I think that comment probably lost half of our viewers. The The Amazon River was actually discovered from Ecuador. In 1541, a group of Spanish conquistadors left Quito in search of the legendary city of El Dorado. A year later, a small group led by Francisco de Orellana got split off from the larger expedition. Orellana and his men eventually found the Amazon River, which they followed hundreds of miles to the Atlantic Ocean. Along the way, they saw some fierce native warrior women, and they named the river Amazon after them. This is a birdwatcher's paradise. Ecuador's birdwatching is legendary. In the entire country of Ecuador, there are an estimated 1,600 species of birds, more than double the number of all of North America. Many of these bird species are found in the Amazon region, including some of the more spectacular ones like toucans, macaws, and tanagers. And of course, the Amazon is teeming with animals. Many types of monkeys, including howler, spider, monkey, squirrel, capuchin, and this tamarin, the giant otter, the tapir, sloth, capybara, giant armadillo, and if you're really lucky, a puma or a jaguar. This part of the Amazon is also home to some of the last uncontacted tribes. Ecuador's Amazon region is home to two small tribes of people, the Taromanani and the Tigari. There are only a handful left, and the tribes live in deliberate isolation, eschewing all contact with the modern world. Both tribes live within the borders of the Yasani National Park, where their rights, including the right to be left alone, are protected by Ecuador's constitution. Now we'll leave the Amazon and we're going to move to Banos, a stunning town surrounded by volcanoes. The setting is amazing. You can see waterfalls, hike through lush forests, relax in steaming thermal springs, hike down impossibly steep gorges, bike or boat all the way to the Amazon basin, and marvel at the occasional eruption of nearby Tungurahua volcano. This is the adventure sport capital of Ecuador and offers so many options and very much something for everyone, from the super adventurous to the more relaxed and laid-back traveler. This beautiful area has over 60 waterfalls. Banos is one of the most popular spots in the country. Many Ecuadorian families vacation here. One look at this delightfully green mountain town and you will know why. Banos means bass, and this is precisely what the town is famous for. Some are thermal springs from the base of Tungurahua volcano, which means little hell in Quechua. Other baths have melted water running through them from Tungurahua's glaciated flanks. Locals swear that the baths are good for your health. It's definitely worth rising early to watch the dawn creep over the mountains from a hot spring vantage point. Now let's head to the coast in the coastal town of Salinas, which is popular with surfers and yachters. It is known as Little Miami Beach because of the high-rise condominiums dotting the shoreline. It's also home to La Chocolatera, which has nothing to do with chocolate. There's a beach where turtles lay eggs, which means tourists need permission to actually enter the beach. Okay, and now we're going to take the almost 4-hour flight over to the Galapagos. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the Galapagos. It's a whole destination in itself. And we have a couple other travel talk videos that you can check out that will tell you all about the Galapagos in details. The Galapagos Islands are a bucket list destination for good reason. Thanks to a lack of natural predators, friendly wildlife, such as playful sea lions and gigantic sea tortoises, let visitors get up close and personal. This archipelago of about 19 islands and smaller islets sprinkles 620 miles off of Ecuador's coast in the Pacific Ocean is a double World Heritage Site. Both land and sea are protected and serve as an inspiration for Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Each island boasts its own unique landscape, ranging from barren black volcanic rocks to swaths of white sand beaches melting into gemstone blue waters. This isolated group of volcanic islands and its fragile ecosystem has taken an almost mythological status as a showcase of biodiversity. Yeah, you don't have to be an evolutionary biologist or an ornithologist to appreciate one of the few places left on the planet where the human footprint is kept to a minimum. And of course, we do have a couple tours to mention that go to Ecuador and the Galapagos. So the first one I'll mention is our Ecuador Adventure, and it is a land tour going from November 29th to December 7th. So on this tour, we have 8 nights deluxe accommodation. And in those accommodations, that's going to include staying at a Highlands Hacienda. We stay at Termas de Papalakta, which is that thermal spa that we mentioned a little while back. And we stay in an eco lodge, nice and deep in the rainforest in the Amazon. We visit the Otavalo Handy Market, and while we're there, we have a weaving lesson. We visit the hot springs. We visit a cloud forest excursion. There's an Amazon night walk. We do visit an animal rescue center and have an Amazon home experience, see what it's like for the people that actually live in the Amazon. We go to an ethnobotanical park. And while we're in Vanos, we're going to try our hand at ziplining. This is actually one of our best priced tours. It's quite reasonable. So double occupancy is only just over $2,000 Canadian. And that works out to about $1,850 US right now. For single occupancy, it's just over $3,000. So that's going to give you your own room. Canadian, so about $2,600 US. If you want the double occupancy and you're coming as a solo traveler, we will match you with a roommate. So you can take advantage of that rate if you would like. And then Galapagos Islands. So right before we do the Ecuador land tour, we have a Galapagos Islands tour, and that is from the 18th to the 27th of November. And in this tour, we have 7 nights aboard this beautiful luxury catamaran. 2 nights at a hotel in Quito, which is right by the airport. All meals while we're on the yacht. We have a certified Galapagos National Park service guide that's with us for the whole tour. We visit the giant tortoise breeding center. We visit the Galapagos Interpretation Center, visit Charles Darwin Station. While you're on the boat, you have use of snorkeling equipment and kayaks. The internal flight, so that's your flight that goes from Quito out to the islands and back again, and your airport transfers, all your gratuities, and of course your World's Travel Club tour host, which is me.
I know we battled over that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's always a very popular one. So, so on the Ecuador land portion, we've got fair good amount of availability still, so we're about half full for that. We have a little less availability for the Galapagos Islands on the catamaran. I think we only have a few spots left, and that includes only 1 single spot left on that. And the pricing for the Galapagos Islands tour is $87.99 Canadian, so that works out to about $7,200 US for sharing. And if you want your own cabin, again, there's only 1 left. That's almost 16,000 Canadian, which works out to just over 13,000 US. So that is the end of my little presentation on Ecuador. Any questions from anybody?
I think they're still thinking about them. Marianne, somebody has asked the deposit for Ecuador, so I'm doing a hasty retreat to see what the amount is.
I think it's $350.
Here we go.
Yeah, $350.
Okay.
Oh, there's Debbie. Hi, Debbie. And that's Debbie,
Hello.
who is from she's in our tour department. She's the one that puts together all these great tours for us. So, hi, Debbie.
Hello.
I didn't know you were there.
Just if
Always here.
If I could clarify one point you made, Marianne, in case people misunderstood it, the Galapagos has a single spot, but it also has shared cabin spaces?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So there's not a lot though. I think we're
No.
getting fairly full, but there is shared spots available. But if you want your own cabin, there is only one spot available. Oh, and we have I think, is that Heather? Heather Gauthier? Let's let her talk and she can say. Hi, I have you. I think it's Heather, H. I've unmuted you, but you have to unmute yourself and then you can talk.
Yes, it's Helen.
Helen, sorry.
Yes, hi. Hi. No, that's fine. I've had people call me Heather even when they see Helen in my email.
Oh, okay, perfect. I don't feel so bad.
I'm used to that. I was just I just wanted to ask, you had mentioned something about a 4-hour flight from mainland to the islands. Is that right?
Oh, it's like just over 3.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like 3 hours and 49 minutes or something. But yeah.
And yeah, okay. No, that I had no idea it was that far out. How like what kind of flights are going? Are they, standard?
They're like and you know, I am not aircraft savvy, but they're big planes. It's not like, when you're in Africa and you're doing like those little tiny planes to go around it. It's like a big plane, 200 people kind of thing.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay. Okay. No, that sounds enticing. Sounds lovely. Beautiful. Anyway, thank you.
It's if you've never done Galapagos, it's like one of those places that everybody should see. It's beautiful, and you just have this. It's very controlled to how many people can be there and how many people can be on any island at any given time. So you just feel like there's nobody around except your group. It's so amazing. Yeah.
No, it's perfect that they managed to control the people and the activity in that area because it is so special.
Yes, exactly.
That and Machu Picchu are two places still on my list.
Oh, well, yes. And I highly recommend Machu Picchu too.
Yes. Yes. Well, I was planning on the Machu Picchu trip and then COVID hit. So, here we go.
Helen, if I can interrupt the conversation, the other thing about Galapagos is the catamaran that we're able to get for this year. It's quite exceptional. And so there is a link, I believe, on our tour page where you can
see it. Yes. And that's to note because Galapagos is not an inexpensive destination. While the rest of Ecuador is actually quite inexpensive and you stay in beautiful places. Galapagos is a more expensive destination, but we were able to, because the one good benefit of this whole COVID thing, I think, is that we were able to secure this charter for this catamaran at a really good rate. So we have like this great rate, even though it's not cheap, but it's for what it is, it's a great rate. And we probably won't get it at that rate again in another year. It just, for this year, we were able to do it.
Okay. Sounds lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Take care, Helen.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we got nobody else raising their hand or
Melissa's got her hand up, so I'm going to allow it to talk. Hi, Melissa. If you just unmute yourself, you can talk.
Hey, Marianne, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing just fine. So during the course of this presentation, I went ahead and signed up for the Ecuador tour because I loved it when I was down there a few years ago. And as much as I like to extend the Galapagos tour, it just looks really pricey compared to the last time. I guess it's, go ahead.
A little bit. I think, I'm trying to remember that was a couple of years ago, but I think
it's been about 4 years. Yeah,
I think it's like 1,000 more, 1,500
it
more.
Looks like,
but it is, well, one thing is the pricing just keeps going up anyway, but it is quite like a step up in vessel from the last vessel. So
that's the big difference.
Yeah,
that's the big okay.
So that's where you're going to see the difference there.
So do you think that you guys will have maybe the same kind of setup next year too for the Galapagos tour? Or maybe that's trying to
We
project
don't
too far
have
ahead?
Galapagos for 2022, so we're probably going to look at 2023. And we'll probably look and see if we can, you know, usually this catamaran would be a fairly more expensive than what it even is now. So we have to see what we can negotiate with them if we're going to stick with this catamaran or not, because we don't want to outprice ourselves with it, right? It's great to have the beautiful, you know, this beautiful catamaran, but if it outprices everybody, then that doesn't, you know, work either. So what we'll probably do is see coming into 2023 what we can negotiate.
Okay, understood. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to the Ecuador trip.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care, Melissa.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So for those that are still listening, and you mentioned it, but to touch on it again, the pricing for Ecuador, considering what the package includes.
Oh yeah, it's
really quite phenomenal. And it's a time of year.
Oh,
Truly,
I gotta go. It's gonna take too long to go back. I go through it to one point. But yeah, so it's a really, you know, for your US clients, for, you know, an 8-day trip with, and stays in really nice places too, and has a lot of good inclusions for activities. And so you're getting like an 8-day trip for less than $2,000, which is quite exceptional, I think.
And the time of year, no, we didn't talk about weather so much, but of course it's very.
Yeah, it's mostly because it is fairly, you know, especially Galapagos Islands is very much a year-round destination. And then because when you get into such a small country with like the different landscapes, so you have the shoreline, then you have the Andes Mountains, then you have the Amazon. It's got microclimates everywhere, so it's like really hard to say, well, if you're here, it's good this time, and here it's rainy, and here it's, and so, you know, what I can tell you is that November for our tour works out pretty good in the areas we are in, and very good for the Galapagos, which is kind of was important to us to have a good time for the Galapagos.
Super. So we have no other questions, but we had we do have lots of people there.
I have one more question. I have Marion. Hi, Marion. How are you? You just have to unmute yourself. Hi, Marion. How are you doing?
It's really well. This was my first trip after my husband died was the Galapagos Islands over Christmas.
Oh wow!
And then over to Quito, but not any of the rest of Ecuador. So I returned later. However, at the time I went, Lonesome George was still living.
Oh yes.
And I got to watch him and see him moving very slowly. It was the Galapagos will always be in my mind as one of the highlights of my life.
Oh yeah, it's just a beautiful, amazing destination. I can't believe I am just so lucky to have been there more than once. Like it's for so many people, it's just such a once in a lifetime thing. So I consider myself very lucky to be able to experience it.
Which you are, because we had this debate, still an ongoing debate about who should get to go. But I guess Marianne beat me out. Not by age, but seniority in other respects.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Marianne. I can't wait till we get on another trip together.
Yes.
Okay, take care. Okay, anybody else want to come on and say hi? Anybody else a little shy? Just want to type something? No? Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like that's it for questions. So thanks again, everybody, for taking the time and coming to spend a little bit of time with us on a Wednesday afternoon. We do these travel talks every week. So next week we are doing a tour.
We have a question, Marianne, before you.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes, Jackie. Sorry, thumbs up. Okay.
Okay. No problem. So next week, we will be doing a tour info session on our very popular Singapore and Malaysia tour. So we have this tour coming up actually in the fall and early spring, late winter. I guess, of so the fall of 2021 and then earlier in 2022. So it is quite popular and it's a really, really cool tour. So I hope everybody will join us and learn a little bit about that. I want to thank Irene and Debbie for both coming on and taking time out of their busy day, because it's been a really busy week. So taking time out of their busy days to join us and help out. And I look forward to next week, and I really look forward to when we're all on tours together and can actually spend some time together chatting. So have a great day, everybody, and see you next week.
Yeah.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.